G'day, guys. Welcome back to SuperCoach Swordplay and welcome to the Round 7 stock market video, back by popular demand. You wanted to see him again. He did join us. It was about 2 to 3 weeks ago now. And back then was in the top 100. Now, we know since then there has been Carnage City, underperforming primos even, injured primos, rookies that have been underperforming. We're looking at some this week to potentially cull, see you later, get out of our sides. I'm interested to find out, is this great man still currently in the top 100 or has he blown out with the rest of us plebs? So, Wiz, welcome again, mate. Thanks for joining us. Give us a quick update, great man. How are things currently tracking?
Firstly, stoked to be here, as always. Oh, second time anyway. But I am in the top 100. I slipped out for a couple of weeks, I think. Out to about 150, but I think I'm back up to 78 after this week. So hoping to stay there, that's all.
Very nice. So you poor bastard, all the way out to 150, poor Wiz. It's been a tough start to the year for you, mate. A very, very tough start. But as I said last time we were talking, I've really got the confidence in you, given your knowledge, given your SuperCoach brain, and given that starting team. I really love the way you've set that up. So if anyone is unaware still, for some reason, this great man has his own YouTube channel, very close to 900 subscribers. So it is our mission. It should be our number one mission. If you haven't already, pause the video right now. Go to his channel, WIZ SuperCoach. Subscribe. We need to get him to 1,000 ASAP. Straight away. It's highway robbery, the fact that he's not already there. I think we got about 200 quick subs the last time was on. So hopefully just a quick 100 this time. We'd be very, very grateful. And let me tell you, it is extremely well deserved. So, Wiz, we're going to crack into this, mate. Now, unfortunately, down the bottom, we're both owners. I know many people watching this video are. We have the bonds with a mammoth break even and still under an injury cloud. And I think this will be very much a game time decision. So I'm a big advocate for holding. I'm sure you are too, Wiz, but we will talk about him in a little while. We've got Andy Brayshaw really underperforming for coaches. This has been a very frustrating starting selection. In the middle, Wiz, I don't think he's going to be your type of player, but we'll find out what your thoughts are on Cam Zurha, the new defender from North Melbourne. We've got the next man here. Now, it does look like Spillsy. This is actually Elijah Sartis, a burn man for some last year, but this year is a different year and potentially could be a nice cash cow. So we'll give you our thoughts on Elijah Sartis. And then this man, Angus Anderson, I think for most coaches this week, seems to be the most logical rookie trade in. So, Wiz, we're going to start off with the big boys in defense, mate. The 500K plus defenders. And we've got Geordie Clark. I've got the roller coaster in the notes section there. But my question to you, Wiz, is given the fact that he's got an average of around the 105 mark, he gives us some low ones and he smashed out a nice 140 plus for us last week. Do you still think he's the type of player with that low break even of 61, under 525K, that we can bring into our sides? Is he that player that if you're playing for an overall rank, that things will just even out? Do you still recommend him, or is he more of a tread with caution type selection for you, mate?
It's a hard one. I don't know if he's going to be quite top 6, but I think he'll be top 8. And he's completely different to last year. Like last year, he'd give you 105 every week. He's still got the same average, but now he's doing it with just ceiling and floor games. So, I mean, you know, over the course of the season, if he's still going to average the same thing, I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? So, I own him, and I'm quite enjoying the roller coaster with the ups and the downs even. But I would still bring him in, I reckon. I think at that price, he's fine.
I love it. You're an absolute sicko. You love the roller coaster. You just love those butterflies, don't you? So I'm not going to go to movie world with you, mate. Now, I've got the opposite here for Archie Roberts. I've got the rock solid symbol because that's what I think he really is. We look at that disposal count. Essendon are playing a 6 style down back at the moment. Chip mark. have you got more confidence in someone like an Archie Roberts that he'll be a top 6 defender over someone like a Jordan Clark, or do you rate them pretty evenly here, mate?
Probably pretty evenly. I'm not sold on the role security for Roberts. I think he could easily end up just like back in the midfield almost full time.
So that's more that trust factor in that role clarity. In the role, it's looking pretty good at the moment, but I suppose that's something that we know with a Jordan Clark, Jack Sinclair, that's where they're going to play. Well, Jack Sinclair, I suppose, can go on a few CBAs, but we're pretty confident in role clarity. So something to note potentially with Archie Roberts, but at the moment, extremely rock solid with his scoring. Luke Parker, the number 1 medal stands for the highest averaging player in that particular line, and it's Luke Parker at the moment. Now, coming into the season, Wiz, I don't care what you say, no one could have predicted this unless you had a SuperCoach crystal ball. Do you think that we just talked about role clarity? Do you believe in Luke Parker's role clarity going ahead for the season? Or, as we discussed last time, Clarko is the new SuperCoach Nazi. Are you still too scared off to go there? Or is it age? What are your thoughts on the Luke Parker selection?
Oh, it's a weird one. I'm not a fan of Clarko in SuperCoach terms, you know that. And there's definitely the age and durability, I guess, questions with Parker. But at the same time, what are we now, 6 weeks in, 7 weeks in? And he's still doing it. It's kind of hard to argue after, 7 weeks of pretty consistent scoring. So I don't know, it might hold and we might all miss out, I think. But I don't think I'm going to go there. I think there's safer options.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you there. And I really like the point that you made. It's not like we're just a couple of weeks in, just before the first price rises, where we're still doing a little bit of guesswork with some of these players. We've got 6, 7 weeks of data already here for us in front of us. And the data suggests that everything he's currently doing is really good. So we did talk about in the podcast how lucrative this role is in SuperCoach, the North Melbourne half-back role, back to the Zeeble, Luke McDonald and his heyday. Fisher, the fish. Now, he's no superstar, but in the role, geez, he scored well. So, yeah, I think the issue is that it's Clarko and the magnets just constantly seem to be shifted. So that's the big red flag there, along, as you said, with age and durability, I think, mate. Now, Cal Wilkie is the ultimate pod. My main issue here is the fact that he's in direct competition with 2 of his teammates if we're looking at buy structures with Naz and Jack Sinclair. And there's still something about this, and it might just be name. I just can't bring myself to go Wilkie over one of the other 2. Well, A, do you think that you can run with 3 Saints defenders? And B, Wiz, do you think I'm being too harsh on Wilkie? Is there a world where you can select him, I'm going to say over a Naz, because I think most of us have Jack Sinclair that will be watching?
I actually do. I don't rate Naz as a pick this year. I'm not looking at getting him. I think Wilkie's probably safer. He's not going to cop attention from the opposition. I know that it's a bit of a dead role in SuperCoach, like that tall defender role, but he just, again, like Parker, we've now had 7 weeks. He keeps getting it done. It's pretty hard to ignore.
It really is. So I've got the pot on fire symbol there, and that's, I think, a big call. I think, or not a big, I think it's a hot take, because I don't think there's too many coaches out there that would put their balls on the line and actually select Cal Wilkie over a Naz. I think for me, in a way, you're pretty much committing now, or you're almost waiting till after his bye, because just before the bye, if you look at the 3 weeks, some big potential tags. So that's my feel on Naz. But you are absolutely right in the fact that someone like a Wilkie, he's not going to cop a tag. So you're really not going to get those floor scores. You're probably not going to get those real high ceiling scores like someone like a Naz could get when he gets 30 and 3 or 4 snags on the scoreboard. But it's hard to disagree with what we've seen so far. So don't mind that call, mate. Now, the Lizard, Nick Blakey, he's been a little bit up and down. And look, some weeks it looks like he's one of the best defenders running around for SuperCoach. Other weeks we think, well, this is why he's a bit of a pod selection. Do you have great feelings on bringing in the Lizard this week?
I do, actually. So I was really hot on him in the preseason, and I didn't pick him. I think it was because I started with Heaney. I didn't want too many on the same buy. So Blakey went out, and I was glad I got rid of him because he started out pretty slow. But I think the Lizard's been laying out in the sun because he's really starting to warm up now. So I think they got a good run coming up as well. And when he's going, he's great to watch. Like whether he scores well or not, I think he's fun. You want to enjoy watching your players. So I think at 520, he's a good pick.
That's great advice about enjoying your plays. We were talking about the fact that some people had lost a bit of enjoyment for the game, myself included, I must admit, on the potty this week. And Nick Blakey even was the player that I suggested as that example because I just love watching him play as well. But interesting, at 520,400, I think he's sort of on the borderline of that top 8. I'm not confident enough to say top 6, but I think there's a word where he gets there. Absolutely. So yeah, maybe 6 to the 10 mark for me. But yeah, really enjoyable player to watch. And I'm going to be using that from now on. When the Lizard's on fire, he's been baking in the sun. Very much rate that, Wiz. Now, Lockie Whitfield is the type of player that I really like trading in at the moment. We talked about role clarity. He's absolutely got that. Now, there may be the odd occasion where he gets that forward tag and he finds things a little bit difficult, but we've already seen Ash, who we'll talk about in a second. We might actually just talk about the both of them at the same time here. We'll go down the bottom to Ash with that high break even, but we did see him move into the midfield a little bit for last week, Wiz. And when we're talking about role clarity, that's something that I know we both really rate with SuperCoach in our players. We want someone who we know will be in a particular role from week to week. So with Whitfield, would you agree he's going to be a top 6, easy trade in, good buy defender, or do you have more concerns with him?
No, I think he's safe as houses. I think both of them will be top 6 for sure. Like Whitfield and Ash.
Mate. Got a good buy. Ash, agree, absolutely top 6. I've got the role reversal symbol there. Now, that's not to scare people off, but just to let people know that he did spend a little bit of time in the midfield. But I think that Lockie Whitfield and Lockie Ash, particularly with that extremely friendly mid-season buy, that can't be underrated. That's something that I think really adds to both picks. So for me, I'd really love both of these blokes in my side by the buys, or at least just after the buys by the end of the season. Now, Naz, we've already talked about him. You've pretty much given your thoughts there. Not keen on him. I've got the buy now symbol on him, but I tried to give a little bit of context to that before. I think that you get him now if you've got the faith, or else you potentially wait until after the buy, after those tags, and maybe look to get on him then. I've never been big on this pick. So I've been Jack Sinclair all the way, and I've been fading Naz for a long time during the preseason. So I still think we can get to top 6, but I do think we'll see a lot of variations in score, similar to someone like a Jordan Clark. Josh Worrell, now you're the Crom man. I've got just rock solid there. Would you agree that he's just a rock solid type pick? Top 6 to 8 potential?
Yeah, I've got him, and I think he will be top 8. Might not be top 6, but confident top 8. I will say this though, I feel like he gets victimized by champion data big time. So last week he had 28 touches. He had intercept marks. I think his efficiency was above 90%, and he only just scraped the 100. He only got like a 105.
That does seem very, very harsh, doesn't it? Particularly when you add in those little cherry on tops like intercepts. So I'm not just talking marks for fantasy here. They're meaningful marks. They really contribute to the game. So yeah, you do wonder sometimes, don't you, mate? You really do wonder. And I know that, we'll get to Christian Petrarca in a sec, but 25 half contested, 3 goals. I know he faded out a little bit in the last quarter, but you really do wonder sometimes particular players' stat lines. It's super frustrating. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Worrell, and yeah, I think he's got top 6 to 10 written all over him. And if we take out that lowy type game, pretty consistent as well, mate. Josh Dacos, I've probably got him a little bit of a tier below at the moment. Which sort of tier would you have him? If I say tier 1, basically guaranteed type top 6, like your Sinclairs, maybe a Whitfield type. Tier 2 being that 6 to 10. Tier 3, maybe 10 to 15. Would you have him towards that tier 3? That's where I've personally got him. Am I being a little bit too harsh there, Wiz? Would you have him a little bit higher and maybe equal with maybe a Roberts type? Or
No, based on what we've seen, I think that's fair. Got to remember as well, last year his average was inflated by that one. What was it, a 198 or something against Gold Coast?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that blew it out a bit. He's a bit inconsistent. It feels like he needs 40 touches to score well. If he only has the 20-25, he's going to go like a 90 or an 80.
Yep, agree, mate. So I think at 504,000, you're saving a lot of money on other players, but no real reason to go there at the moment. Jack Sinclair, I think most people have got him. I've got him as a must-have. Is that too strong for you? Must-have?
Nah, he'll be D1 by the end. I think it's deserved.
Mate. I totally agree. And Ash, we've already talked about a bit of a role reversal symbol, given the fact he played some mid-time, but nothing to worry about there. Now, we've actually got two slides of defenders 250 to 500K. I'm not a fan of bringing in any of these players, but there is a bit of a discussion about whether or not we potentially look to trade out some of these players at the same time. But Tholstrup I've just got there, under 300K with a 3-rounder of 81, very much inflated with his role last week. Did play in the defence and took 8 kick-ins, I think it was, from memory, with a projected score of 72. He'll go up about 30K, so making some quick cash, but I'm not a fan of this type pick whatsoever. Wiz, I'm guessing you're not, knowing your game style.
Nah, not at that price.
Beautiful, mate. Jacob Farrow, did you bring him in at the inflated price last week from memory, Wiz?
I did, and it backfired, but hopefully long term it'll be okay.
That was going to be my question. 1 week after, do you have buyer's regret after just the 1 week?
Nah, I think he'll be okay, especially with that game style Essendon are playing. And Ridley looks like he's going to be out for a while now, so I think he'll benefit.
And he's an easy one to have on field.
Yeah, just quickly before we go on the next one, forgot to say it with Naz. I think he'll go really big this week against West Coast, but I reckon that we'll be able to get him for around the 500K mark eventually, if you're going to get him.
Oh, that would be bargain buy, wouldn't it? He almost becomes must trade in, I think, at that price, even with the potential downs and lows. Good point there, mate. Blamires, I think, is just a really easy hole with a break even of 28, not something you look to move on to now. Luke Ryan, look, lots of us got Geordie Clark at 468,000. We know this man's history, but it can be very volatile. Is there a world where if you're looking to save cash like we've got with the empty wallet symbol there, that you look at a Luke Ryan, or you're too scared to even go there?
I'm actually strangely tempted by this pick myself.
Oh, I did not expect this. All right, give us a bit of reasoning, mate. Don't necessarily sell us the pick, but why are you considering it?
Well, he's got that scoring pedigree. You watch him and Clark together, and they kind of feed each other. It looks like Ryan's improving. I think he's had the last 2 weeks, he's gone like 120-ish for the 2 weeks. He's one of my favorite players, though, funnily enough. I really like watching him play. Like, not so much when he's doing that disgusting stat padding stuff, but he's genuinely, I think he's a good defender when he wants to be. And he's, I don't want to say it, but he's a little bit overweight, and I really like that about him.
One of the bigger fellas. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, if we look at his score, so going from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, obviously missed round 1. We've got an 88 and a 72. You're thinking, 56, but then 126 and then the 116. So we know what his kick to handball ratio is like. Really good there. There's value there. There's history there. You know what he can score like in the role. So the definition of a fall in premium Wiz. So very surprised to hear that, but like it, mate, looking outside the box and a huge pod as we sit here at the moment. Now, Lockie Jakes had his lowest score of the season, but look, if we take last week out, has a low floor of 67, a high of 84, so a really consistent type pick. Injury City at the Dogs at the moment. I think he did move up the ground at stage and played more of a wing role on the weekend. The conditions weren't great down there at Geelong. Are you an advocate for holding this man at the moment? The symbol I've got for a lot of these players, it's a bit of up to you type thing, the watch or chop. I'm more of a hold and watch type on the Lockie Jakes, just because of that consistency. Or are you a little bit worried about the potential role shift, that low score now in the system, which will stunt a little bit of growth? What are your thoughts on the trade or hold scenario for Lockie Jakes this week, Wiz?
I'm in two minds. To be honest, I'm probably opposite of you. I'm leaning more towards chopping him. He was already playing up the ground a bit, I think, because he was. I remember reading that he was close to getting midfield DPP. I could be wrong, but
Really?
I remember hearing that. So he'd already moved up before this week, and he's named on the halfback with the teams that just come out tonight. But you never know with Bevo. I just think we're going to be waiting a while for him to make some fast cash, and I think the others are more likely, because all these good rookies are all kind of peaking at once. I think the others are more likely to put in a good score and reset their cash gen.
Well, look, he's already made what's about 130K for us. So you may view that as he's done the job, potential role shift now, low score in the system. So you wouldn't mind too much if coaches are maybe looking to chop him to use some DPP to get an Anderson or even move up, mate. You're happy enough with that if you need to?
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful, mate. All right, Sam Grill. Now, a bit of a similar situation with coaches looking to potentially trade, looking to potentially hold. Now, his scoring's been a little bit all over the place, mate. So he's given us a 73, 43, 68, 90, which has been his ceiling score for the year, 59, and then 66. He's coming up against Melbourne, West Coast, which is a nice potential matchup, and then Adelaide, playing a bit of a mixed role at the moment. So getting a bit of CBA time, playing down back. Now, we do know that Sam Banks is out. Does this mean that he could potentially get the ball in his hands a little bit more? We know that someone like a Taranto's out. Does this mean that he gets potentially some more mid-minutes? What are your thoughts on Sam Grill? Because I'm really struggling at the moment to make the decision between trading out someone like a Jakes or a Grill. I'm almost finding it an impossible task, Wiz. Do you have any particular or strong thoughts on Sam Grill?
I'm a lot more confident in Grill than I'm in Jakes. As you mentioned, Banks going out should help him, and also Taranto as well. But then I guess you can make the same argument for Jakes because the injury city, as you said, at Western Bulldogs. I don't know. I've just watching Grill. He just looks like on the eye test like he's getting better and better every week. More confident. Just he's got that cool head when he has the ball, and I don't really notice Jakes. So if it was between the two, I'd definitely be keeping Grill, even though he's got more money on his head. He'll help you get a better premio, as you called him before. But yeah, I don't know. Again, gut feel for me is a huge one, and my gut feel is Grill's a hold.
Well, I'll tell you what, your gut feel has still got you in the top 100 currently. So I reckon it's a pretty good gut feel at the moment. And I suppose also got that added DPP. So when you are looking to trade out, a bit of flexibility. So yeah, I don't mind that call at all. I originally was looking to trade out Grill, but I'm more leaning towards, and if it's a decision between the two, as an example, to trade out Jakes as well over someone like a Grill. So I think we agree there, mate. Wayne Miller, you're a crom, man. Every time I think about Wayne Miller, Abs is at the forefront of my mind because he got the great man for 2 terrible scores. He trades him out, and then he just looks like peak SuperCoach playing. Peak SuperCoach playing. I don't know what I just said there, Wiz. What are your thoughts on Wayne Miller? I've got the burn man symbol there. Durability with this man is always going to be in the back of my mind. But, hey, if you've got confidence in his body, the role seems like it's there. 118 through a 3-round average with a break-even of 60, 480K. So we're not paying up for the type of plays we're looking at in the previous slide. What are your thoughts on Wayne Miller?
I absolutely love him as a player, but not in a SuperCoach sense. There's 2 reasons. The first one is whenever he gets the slightest bit of attention, he goes missing. He's just that kind of player. But the second thing is I see him kind of in SuperCoach. He's kind of nowhere. He's not a money maker. He's not going to be top 6 or top 8. And because he keeps throwing in these floor scores, he's not really making much money when he does have the the ceiling scores at kind of the next one up. You know what I mean? Like he never quite.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're perfectly. How do I explain it? They're perfectly spaced that every time he's about to have a good price rise, he drops back again.
I know exactly what you mean. And if anyone's new to the game and you're a little bit confused by some of the technicalities here, basically what we're trying to say is when you have a good score in your system, if you're able to back that up, then that really keeps that cash gen flowing and flowing and flowing. If you're going ceiling, then floor score, then the price is very much going up and down because that break even is really fluctuating. So that's another way to try to explain it for some of the people that may be new to the game. But that's a fantastic point that you make, Wiz. He doesn't seem to be consistently scoring well week upon week for that to really rapidly rise. We're too much for a roller coaster type operation here. We're going up and down. So really good point there. And now, Joyce are wrong. If you're looking to trade out a rookie this week, a fattened rookie, and we're talking like the Grills of the world, for me, he's the most logical one. We've seen the 100 plus, a couple of 70s, but then we've also seen some 48 type scores. He's made almost 200K, got the most money on his head. For me, he's a logical one to chop. Do you have any disagreements or different thoughts with that?
He's another one I'm in two minds with. So he doesn't score well at the SCG, and I know he's not playing there this week, but even if he scores well this week, he's got to play at the SCG next week, probably scores crappy because small ground wingers don't like it. Oh, with the money on his head, I think, you'd lean towards chopping him, but I can't get past the gut feel thing. I think I don't know. I mean, I'm perfectly in two minds. I don't know about that one. I think it depends what you do with him that really counts. I wouldn't be getting rid of him if you don't need to, if there's other options that you can get rid of. But I don't know.
So it's obvious that you're saying you'd be more than happy to hold this bloke at the moment. It's not like we need to chop him because he's got this low score. We look at the break even and it is getting up a little bit. You haven't got alarm bells ringing here. Pretty much is what you're saying.
No, I'm confident he'll get his break even this week, but then it does. It's going to be a lot harder than next week, I think, unless he goes huge this week.
Awesome, mate. Beautiful. Kitty Coleman. I'm a Brisbane man. Now, 380K. I think you've absolutely missed the boat on trading in, but an easy hold. Zorko's out at the moment. So break it in 69. I think you can definitely get to that. A hold for another couple of weeks and maybe assess. Any different thoughts on Kitty Wiz?
No, he's a big miss. He's been good.
Beautiful. Now we start to see a lot of the red here. Joe Fonte with a break even of 73. It's just in the green there, but I think, in my personal opinion, he's a great player to move on at the moment. Agree there, Wiz? Happy to move Fonte on. No need to really hold on to him, but no alarm bells really at the same time, or?
No, I'd only hold him if you believe that Ash moving into the midfield is going to be a permanent thing.
Yep. Awesome. Windsor, I just think get rid of him. He's just doing absolutely nothing. Move the man on. You're nodding, so I'm not even going to ask you your opinion there, mate. Tom McCarthy, I've never been a fan of this guy pre-season, in season, but did score well on the weekend. He's under 450K, around the same price as many players on this slide. Any particular thoughts on Tom McCarthy, recommendations, or one you just look past pretty easily?
No, he's back in defence now, so I think if you're strapped for cash, he's a fine pick, but you probably shouldn't be strapped for cash with the way the rookies are all peaking at the moment. So I think, you'd want to look elsewhere. Again, he's like Miller. He's kind of stuck in between, not quite a money maker or a keeper.
Would you say that the next three as well, someone like a Dale, a Newman, and a Jaden Short are in that same bracket? Or do you see a world where any of these three could be from here on out top 6-8 keepers, or no real world there? They're just another one of those picks that we're almost calling just in no man's land.
I think so. If you look at how much they've made this year, like all of them have, I think Short especially scored well at times, but he's barely made any money. Like I think all three of them as well. So again, they're just in no man's land.
Yeah, look, I've got Short as the burn man. I think many people would be in the same boat as me. I suppose with Sam Banks out, there's been a little bit more talk about him. Someone like Nick Newman, lots of us were looking at in the preseason before we couldn't start him in the end. And then Bailey Dale, again, we've seen what this bloke can do, and we know what he's done in the past, but there's just no reason whatsoever in my mind to be selecting him apart from name and history. So I think we don't really need to go into any detail with those blokes. Oh, look, Dan Houston. I own him, mate, and I hate owning him. Look, have you got any thoughts here? Do you think at this stage, if you've got him, you just hold on at this stage, or you put out other fires? Have you got any thoughts on Dan Houston, apart from commiserations to those that do have him?
Oh, yeah, commiserations. But I'd probably get rid of him if I had him, I think. And just, it's a pretty easy, with his price, pretty easy to just get up to one. I mean, what's Jordan Clark's like 100K more?
You're right. At 426, look, if he is going in 80, it's another 9K down. You're talking 415. Others are moving up. Again, just a nothing pick, an absolute nothing pick. I'm sure he can get 100 here and there, but you're going to get your 70 type scores as well. So, yeah, I'm shattered, Swain. And probably not commiserations from your end, Wiz. You're too humble to say this, but more of an I told you so. What on earth are you people doing with Dan Houston? But you won't say that. I'll just say that on your behalf. Colt McKercher, remember the last time that you're on, that was a week where people were looking to jump on, and our advice was be very, very careful of what Clarko is going to do. And lo and behold, look at what happened last week. It was Kirch the forward and Cam Zuha the back. So again, this is just a bit of an unfortunate one. Some people had the faith that they'd seen enough that he was going to maintain that role. But again, the magnets were shifted. So absolutely a pass as a trade in. Are you okay, Wiz? McKercher and Houston, I'm an owner of both. Who are you trading at first? Is it Houston or McKercher?
Houston, I think.
I would agree, but geez, he's got a little bit more money on his head. It's a tough one. You don't want to be owning either player at this stage, but who knows? If things turn around and McKercher does find himself back in that defensive role, then yeah, there maybe is a word where he could come back. And Tom Stewart, Max Owens has gone down back, and Tom Stewart has just absolutely fallen off a cliff. A 3-round average of 73, a break even of 181. And if he goes around a 90 this week, he's looking to go down 40K, and he's going to continue to tumble. Did you see this coming? I didn't. I was never a big fan of the pick, but after those scores, you look at him in that role and you think, look, if he doesn't get injured, he's going to be a great selection. I was a bit blindsided by this, Wiz. Is there any chance that Stewart comes back, or with Holmes playing that defensive role, does he just affect Tom Stewart too much?
I think it totally depends on what Holmes is doing. Stewart just looks happy to be that general back there and just plays match up and kind of direct the traffic. I did think that he would drop off, but this is not the reason why. I thought it would be injury or something.
100% with you. So if you are a Tom Stewart owner at the moment and you're looking at current role, the risks that we've been preaching about all season, basically, and the break even, are you jumping off this week? Just get out of the pick now?
You'd have to if you think Holmes is going to stay down there.
It's a bit of gut feel and your own projections and predictions, isn't it? I agree. If you think that Holmes is going to continue to play that defensive role, Stewart's still got a bit of money on his head. You know, he's not down to a Houston level, but he could be there as early as this week if he scores low enough, if not the week after. So you've got a big decision on your hands. If you're a Tom Stewart owner, it's gut feel. I'm not saying this is the only reason, but I think a big reason is due to Holmes being back. So, yeah, make your own decision with that and choose your own journey from here with Tommy Stewart. Now, this slide, mate, I think we can go through pretty quickly here. I'll give my quick thoughts and then you can give any of your different opinions. Perez, the ship has sailed. We're not paying 150K for him with potential job security. Sicily's out this week. I think Scrimshaw may come back in, but then Sicily could come back in. If Scrimshaw performs well, I could see Perez getting dropped, so I'm not going there 150. Josh Lindsay, I'm absolutely holding that break even at 244k. Same as Selwood. And I've heard you mention this a couple of times, Wiz, that he does play better against the better sides. And I think there's been a bit of a pattern there. So glad I held on to Selwood. Ty Gallop, he's that new DPP player who I think's a hold with a break even of 10. He'll do enough at around the 40s, 50s for the next couple of weeks. No need to trade there. And Jack Carroll, look, if you really need to trade out a player, I suppose you could chop him if you don't have great confidence with him moving forward. But again, the break even is only at 21. He's not a must trade type player. But if you want to chop him, I think that you can. Any different thoughts there, Wiz, on that slide?
No, I agree on all that.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, mate. Nothing, no brain science there. All right, into the big boys in the midfield, 500k plus. And I know for a fact that you are a very, very happy owner of the man we see right up the top here. It is always good, Wiz, when you see your player right up the top here with that nice juicy break even of 73, a 3-rounder of 131, so close to a 60-point gap there. With a projected score of 123, he's going to look to go up at $22,000, and he'll be officially in the 600k plus bracket. It's Zach Merritt. Are you an advocate for trading him in this week at his current price with that break even, mate?
Yeah, probably. It's starting to get high, isn't it? That price.
The price is high. Yeah.
I didn't see the game on the weekend, but it sounds like he was helped with some time and defense towards the end of the game. Took some kick-ins and stuff. I wonder if that's going to continue, because he could get a fair bit higher if that's the case.
It raises his ceiling. It really does. And I can tell you it was a 70-point last quarter. So that was an absolute pig of a last quarter. He was on 80 points at 3/4 time and finished on the 150. So a huge quarter, but look, he has been pretty consistent as well. We've seen a couple of really nice ceiling games here. You're right. I think that at the price, it's you've got to go this week, because if you don't, he's 600k plus. But at the same time, you can get some players that are closer to the 550 mark if you want to go there. So I think he's a fine trade in this week. I know the professor, our brother Janath, is officially trading him in at this stage. So I'm all for it. I think he's good. But at the same time, you've got to ask yourself, can you be affording to be paying 585k? Even though it's low for what he's been producing, it is close to a 600k tag. So very team dependent here. Lockie Neal, I'm not interested in Neal. And part of the reason now, and we'll get to these blokes in the other slide, we've got some potential bargain Brisbane players up our sleeve with your Dunkleys, your Ashcrofts, and your McCluggages. Now, they may not float your boat, but I'm potentially looking at a couple of these blokes in my side at some stage if they become low enough and if we see some consistent form for a couple of weeks. So that's another thing that puts me off Lockie Neal, along with age. But I've got the CBA King symbol there because he's still continuing, mate, as a big CBA mid for us. Would you have any love at all for a Lockie Neal type pick?
He's not a terrible pick. Just the age and stuff scares me off. He's pretty prone to a tag too, but we've always known that. So I think if you're going to go there, like with all the Brisbane players, and you'd know better than anyone, they build into the year. They always start off kind of slow, and by the end they're absolutely humming. And I'm sure he's no exception. So if you get on now, maybe don't expect him to light the world on fire, but I'm sure second half of the year could be a good bargain actually.
And that's a great point, and we'll talk about that when we get to a couple of Lions players as well. Now, I forgot to tell you as well pre-podcast. For some reason, every time I flick to another screen on StreamYard lately, I've gone frozen. I went completely ventriloquist style on my last round review. So that's why I was just looking at the phone then. I wasn't being rude because I wanted to get this man's numbers up. Now, I want you to be brutally honest. I'm not even going to say anything about Clayton Oliver. Can you give your quick thoughts on Clayton Oliver as a potential trade in this week? I'm going to say nothing, and then I'll give my personal opinion.
So I'm willing to admit that I was wrong in the preseason. I said he was washed and don't go near him. But like Luke Parker and the rest, it's been 7 weeks, and whether it's because Tom Green's not there or not, he's been great. And I think for 530, you can do a lot worse.
He's my, and this is why I didn't want to talk about him. He's my trading option this week for me personally. I'm not saying he's number one trading option to get in, but he's the man I'm looking to get in. And I'll give a quick explanation as to why. So just go and look back at his scores here. And I'd love a bit of context for anyone that does know about his low score of 69, which is in round 2. But from round 0 to 6, and I will say as well, is completely with you. I thought he was washed. And there was no way in the world I was looking at a Clayton Oliver type pick. I think his starting price was close to being bang on the 500K mark, but he is at 537 at the moment. Hawthorn, round 1, or round 0, technically, 121 points. Then he plays the Dogs for a low score of 69. 117 against the Saints, 111 against Collingwood, 108 against Richmond, 128 against Sydney. The next 4 weeks, he faces North Melbourne, Gold Coast, Essendon, and West Coast. He's got the best buy in the game. We know this, that mid-season buy only shares it with one other side, being Richmond, who I don't think too many teams, if any of the good teams, are going to have any primos. I thought he was washed, but looking at these scores, mate, looking at his stat line, I'm not saying he's a Clayton Oliver of old, and I don't know if we'll ever get the Clayton Oliver of old, but even the new version of Clayton Oliver, the fresh, clean slate Clayton Oliver, I don't mind him, and it's the price. I would prefer to have Zach Merritt in my side, but Wiz, we were talking about this before. 50K, that's a big difference, and it can make a big difference in our trading cadence. I'm really taking that into account when I'm comparing the Zerrett and the Oliver picks. So that's why I'm a bit of an advocate of Clayton Oliver. I still think it's a bit of a risk. Or Clary can just go completely off the rails all of a sudden, and we can't predict that. But it looks like he's in a really good headspace at the moment. Janath talks about that a lot, about the mental side of the game. We know there's unfortunately some players that are really struggling there at the moment, but this bloke, from what I can see, and I'm just a complete average Joe from the outside looking in, he seems really happy playing his football. Now, I suppose one thing that does concern me is his lack of kicking. This has always been something with Clayton Oliver, very reliant on the hands. And if those kicks become clanger kicks, then that really does limit that ceiling. But something else that I like, and I think is underrated as we're coming in this stage of the season, we're getting to winter time, mate. That's Clary's time. Clary loves the winter. He's that contested beast. And another thing that you did talk about with Lachie Neale, he's prone to a tag. Oliver has been tagged the shit house back in the day when he was back down at Melbourne. But there's a man that plays for the Giants, and his name's Finn Callaghan, who we'll get to on the next slide. In my humble opinion, if you're getting that team sheet up and you're the opposition and you're running with a tagger, Finn Callaghan stands out like dog's balls if you're looking at a midfielder. And then you've obviously got the Ash and the Whitfield, which you look at in the defensive line, which I think is another security blanket to Clayton Oliver not copping a tag. So we're also talking, and sorry, I'm rambling probably now, mate, but we were talking again in the preseason about how good it would be to be able to target a top CBA midfielder that is very, very unlikely to cop the tag, to avoid those real floor type scores. And Clayton Oliver seems to be that type of bloke as well. He did give that 69, which is why I would love a bit of context if anyone out there knows a little bit about that. But they're my thoughts on Clayton Oliver. Is there anything I've said there, Wiz, that you think, oh, it's not sustainable, you're talking crazy here, mate? Be completely honest and shut me down, because I almost feel like I need someone to at this point, because I can't see a heap of downside. He's currently as well, if we take out all of the DPP midfielders, he's averaging a top 10 mid as things currently sit. And again, we've said we're already 6 rounds in. Am I talking crazy anyway here, Wiz? Is there anything you can do to talk me out of this pick potentially?
Nah, I was wrong on him once before. I'm not prepared to go against him again. I'm not looking at getting him in right now, but I don't think you're crazy for doing it. Again, it's been 7 weeks. He's only had that one down game, and you know his ceiling is kind of gone. We haven't seen it in a long time, but he's been super consistent this year, or at least 6 weeks of the 7. In a year like this with so much carnage, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially at that price.
And that's, I forgot to mention as well, that's another thing I'm after with a midfielder now. I feel like I've got enough high ceiling captaincy options in the ruck line, defense, even your Sheasel up forward, your Sinclair down back if you want something pretty safe. So I'm absolutely after what you just said there with consistency. I'm just looking for a consistent midfielder. I think someone like an LDU's been super consistent on that ton run, but I just feel that the price here at 537, that's why I'm really attracted to the pick, because we can see blokes at the 600 or getting close to the 600K mark that have been a little bit up and down, and I think could produce pretty similar averages at the moment. So I'm not going to talk anymore on Clary. I've talked a lot about him, but that's my thoughts anyway. Zack Butters, wow, 138 for 3-rounder. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about, geez, is this bloke a lock for top 4? All of a sudden, he's averaging more than the Bonds and a lot of our other midfielders here. So kudos to Zack Butters. This week, all I'll say is don't VC or captain him. 2 lowest scores of the year last year did come against Geelong. Very likely, in my opinion anyway, and I don't think this is breaking news, that he'll cop a hard tag this week. So that's my main concern there. I wouldn't be investing this week. But any different thoughts on Zack Butters, WIZ? We're just happy owners at the moment and looking for a bit of a low score. Would you loop him this week? If you've got a loop, would you do that?
Yeah, I would actually. I mean, was it last year? What do you get? Like a 40 or a 50 against Mullen?
40s or 50s? Yeah, so around the mark. Like, yeah, nothing.
Definitely worth looping if you can, because everyone has him. So you get a good advantage there on the comp.
This is the year that we're 653,138 3-rounder, and we're looping him this week. But hey, DVP and matchups, it's huge. It's huge, Wiz, as we know. So, yeah, I think that's it on Zack Butters. Now, LDU, just shout out to this man. Super impressed with what he's produced. We know he's had some relatively easy matchups. In saying that, did play the Lions and scored really well there. I'm at the opinion at the moment that the value's just not there, and I still want to see him come up against some tougher matchups. Are you in that boat, or are you pretty happy at that price to say, yes, I would much rather go with someone like a Zeret if you're paying that price? But any different thoughts there on an LDU, mate?
No, I think he's a tiny bit high in price. He did prove me wrong, though. I thought Brisbane was where he was going to finally stumble, because I was of the opinion, like you, that with the easier teams, he was just inflated, but he actually did well. So I don't know if he's going to continue or not, but yeah, as you say, he's getting towards 600K. There's other options. So I don't know. He's that kind of burn man in the past. It's hard to change that gut feel on him, isn't it?
It is sort of mentally, it's always in the back of your mind, isn't it? But like, kudos to the George of the world that started him. Like, what a fantastic pick. Just brilliant pick. And paid for Noah Anderson. If you went your LDU over an Anderson, you've most likely saved a trade, 100K, and geez, I don't even want to know what the point difference is. Don't even want to go there, mate. Now, Isaac Heaney, you did go there early on in the season, and then you jumped off. But 666,200, the man is out this week. Super unfortunate for owners. So I don't really think we need to go into any great detail here, mate. Do you want to just give maybe some quick words on Isaac Heaney? Because I know that, yeah, we were both a big fan in the preseason. Any quick thoughts there, mate? I know that your advice will pretty much be just hold the man for a week if it's a week. But anything else you want to add to the Heaney talk?
I'm just disappointed that he's straight been ruled out this week, and that, you know, he didn't play and get some, what is it? It's a calf, isn't it? If he didn't get some like calf awareness or something 5 minutes into the game, because he's I'm not wishing for injuries here, but because he's already got it. But at 666K, he's gone now, and we need something to bring that price down. If he comes back next week, he's probably going to hit that 100 break even and stay out of reach. So he's the one that I want in my team. Obviously, he was there. I had to get rid of him, but it's hard watching when he's going absolutely nuts.
Oh, he's just great to watch and talk about. You know, loving watching the lizard. I don't know if it's just the blonde hair. He's such a good-looking rooster. The speckies, the snap. He just does everything, doesn't he? He's just got X factor. Just a fantastic player. So, look, you can't go there. I don't think at 666, even if he's healthy, it's just too much to pay. We've seen what happened with the Bonds, with all these players. He'll eventually go down, but yeah, definitely on the hit list. Bailey Smith. Now, he's priced even higher than Isaac Heaney, but I've got him as an Uber. Would you consider him a must-have, Wiz? Would you be as strong as that? Because that's the way that I'm personally leaning at the moment. He's just been a fantastic pod for those that have got him in the side.
I actually agree. Teams aren't bothering to really do anything about him. I think because he's got a tendency to burn the ball, but even when he does, he's scoring out of control. He's just everywhere on the field. I think you can go with the more expensive Ubers. Like if you're ever going to do it, it'd be this year because we've got so much cash gen from these rookies, more than other years that I can remember. I think it's more justified if you want to go for a guy that's like 670 like he is, but he's averaging, what's he average? 143 rounder. Like, yeah, if you're ever going to do it, I think now's the time. If you can do it.
Well, the way that he's scoring at the moment, if you can pod VC or captain the man as well, I think that's a little extra cherry on top, some more meat to the bone there. So absolutely, I think we both agree, Uber, you really want to get him in your side. We're not saying you have to pay this much, but at some stage, geez, you'd love to see Baz there. And it's pretty much the same with me for Max Holmes. I'm not saying that he's necessarily got the scoring ceiling, maybe that someone like a Baz has, but whether or not Holmes plays down back in the midfield, he still scores well. One thing to note, and this is something I was looking at in my side. Now, I'm a Bont and Richards owner. Geelong share the same buy as the Dogs. So I was really looking to get these guys in as soon as possible. All of a sudden, I'm thinking, geez, half my midfield is going to be Dogs and Cats players. So maybe check out your buy structures before you go too heavy with the Dogs and the Cats. But at 615,000, I don't see too much wrong with going with the Max Holmes. I wouldn't want to be paying much more. Is he too expensive for you at the moment, Wiz, or would you still be happy looking at the current role, or even worst case, he goes back into the midfield?
I think 615, like I just said, like with the higher prices, I think this year you could probably justify it. And that consistency that he has when it seems like we've got, injury carnage happening everywhere, players just shit in the bed every second week. I think, you can't really put a price on that consistency. I think he'll be top 8 pretty easily. So, at 615, I think he's worth it, even if you want to go there this week.
Another thing to mention, like you're just mentioning top 8 mid. If this continues, he could be a top 1 defender. Who knows? Like if he goes back to the defensive line, automatically he becomes a must-have. And maybe Wiz, that's something to note for coaches. If you've got gut feel that this role continues, then maybe those blokes that we were talking about that are on the fringe of the top 6 to 8, maybe they go down slightly in the rankings because you could potentially have a Max Holmes there. So maybe something to think about as well. Now, Ed Richards, I've got the butcher symbol there because he got a heap of the ball last week, but just forgot how to kick it. Helicopters, 15-meter chips and lead up. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was something to do with the injury behind the knee, the tendon that he was managing. Don't even know what league it was, to be honest. But look, I'm not an advocate for trading in Ed Richards at the moment, particularly given that buy. I would much rather prioritize the big 3 in the Bont, the Baz, and the Max Holmes. I know that he's at a much friendlier price. And hey, if he continues to go down, you could jump on him. But I really don't see a reason personally, Wiz, to jump on someone like an Ed Richards. Would you agree, disagree there?
No, I agree. I think he's currently on the way down. He hasn't bottomed out yet. So just wait, I think.
Matt Rao has looked pretty good to my eye in the last couple of weeks. At under 600K, you all good for those people that want to go there now? Or is he someone you're going to target later, not necessarily top 8 material for you? What are your quick thoughts on Matthew Rull?
So from this point on, obviously he's missed too much to be top 8 mid on overall points. Oh, he still might be, but from this point on, I think he will be pretty comfortably. So to get him for under 600, I think definitely if you can do it this week. The only problem is there's a lot of good mids in the rookie. A lot of good rookies in the mids. So a lot of people I think are trying to fix their forward lineup. So it's kind of bad timing that he might only be under 600K for another week. So
good point. a buy now then. If you're keen on him this week, I'm absolutely fine with that. I've got the target symbol there, like someone you can definitely target. But you're right. That's another good point, Wiz. When we're talking about averages, top 8, 6, we need to try to focus on from now until the end of the season. If you're bringing a bloke in now, it doesn't matter what he scored. That's great for decision making and data and projections moving forward, but you're not going to get those scores. So really good point there, mate. We do have another slide, and this isn't great reading for some of these players if you're a current owner. Finn Callaghan, now I think he's a fine pick. I think he'll definitely be a tag target. I'm a little bit worried about the tag, as you can see in the notes section there, because Foz, I believe, is back this week. And it's my thoughts that Foz will go to Finn Callaghan. May not. Hey, could go to Clary, knowing my luck, or who knows what will happen. But I'm a little bit worried this week. I wouldn't be looking to jump on this week, but I'll still rate him as a fine selection at some stage. What are your thoughts on Finn Callaghan? Do you see top 8 potential here, or are you worried about those potential tag floor scores here?
No, I think he can be. I wouldn't be jumping on him this week, as you say. But if you remember last year, I started him, and I think
Me too.
First 3 or 4 weeks he was really quiet, and then as you do, I traded him out, and then he went nuts from there. I think he might be in a bit of a flat spot, but we know that he can get out of it, and we know from last year that he can also deal with the tag as well.
Absolutely. It's like Darcy Parish vibes this year, isn't it? What we did with Finn Callaghan, it sucks. Absolutely sucks. But look, I'm a huge fan of Finn Callaghan. I think he's a ripping player. Rules are meant for him. So I think at some stage he'll definitely be someone I'll take a look at. Now, Nick Dacos, that last quarter was just something for the absolute ages. Now, I don't have notes for any plays here, but I do just quickly need to go back to this last quarter. All right. So 20 touches for 85%, 20 touches at 85% for 59 points at halftime he had. Slowed up a little bit in the third, and then did this man take his moment. So to start the last, contested kick off the ground to a teammate, handball receive, handballed it off, then crumb the kick, got that for a goal. Just unbelievable piece of brilliance there. From that piece of play, shot up to 100 points right on the dot. 8 touches in 5 minutes of playing time, 37 points. I was watching this Wiz like an absolute hawk. At this stage, absolutely spent from running his ass off. He wanted to come off, but he had to stay on for an extra couple of minutes. But this bloke had just run his ass off. So what he did, he went forward, decides to take a contested mark, then a goal assist to Elliott, up to 127 points all of a sudden, then wins a 1v2, kicks to Elliott again for another goal assist. Just one of the best patches of footy I've seen for someone. Then even in the last minute I've got here, 2 crucial tackles just to add to that again. So look, with the game on the line, it was just 2 rivals going at it. Super impressed. So I know he's not a man we really need to deep dive into too much, but I just wanted to acknowledge that quarter because it really was one for the ages. Wiz, were you actually watching this game?
Yeah, I saw the second half. I actually wasn't aware that Dacos was going nuts. I was at the footy club, was watching it on the projector and kind of chatting shit in between and eating dinner and that. So, because there's no sound on the projector. I didn't really know because I couldn't hear the commentators and stuff. But I'm glad. I'm glad you brought it up and that you pointed out that he did well, because I think if you didn't, Craig McRae might be on the phone giving you a serve.
That's right. You got to be careful with 5, yeah, an old Brisbane man. It was ridiculous, and I had the VC on him as well, which is it's such a good feeling, isn't it, when you lock in a nice VC on the Thursday or the Friday night and just kick back for the rest of the week. Such fantastic feeling. So, we're up to being Nick Dacos owner. Now, Jordan Dawson made unfortunate circumstances. We don't really want to talk about this, but we have to from a SuperCoach point of view. At 553,000, if you were an owner, would you be at the point of just holding at this point? Or he's got enough money on his head, there's enough question marks there at the moment with the high break, even all the rest, that we can spend, 50 odd K and get to a merit. It's even less than that. Get to one of these type players around the 600 mark, get to a Max Holmes, pay 600, 50, 60 K there. What are your thoughts on Jordan Dawson trying to take the emotion of life out of it? And we give much love to him and his family, but purely as a SuperCoach sense, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all right to hold. I'd probably look to get rid of him, though, to be honest. He hasn't looked like himself this year, like even before this, unfortunate thing happened. But yeah, I don't really advocate for trading premios, but
I'm not going to leave that
to yeah, he's a hard one. We know what he can do, but he just hasn't looked like doing it this year, really. So I don't know. Now that we are 7 weeks in or whatever, I think we've seen enough that I don't think he's going to come good. He's not going to do what you want him to as an owner. So depending on what your situation is, I think you can trade him.
I agree, and I'd pretty much have him almost in the same boat as like your Sarongs and your Brayshaw. I would be looking to potentially trade into these blokes if they get to a price where you're thinking, geez, I'm almost going to go there, as well as a couple of weeks of consistent form. So maybe I'd look to go there. We know their premiums of the past and can do it, but the consistency is a real issue for these blokes at the moment. And I did ask you pre-podcast, Wiz, if you notice this, but the great men at Dr. Supercoach, much love to my boys there, Pistol Chizo, JB and the Great Pig, but they did mention that he was potentially doing a bit of tagging himself, not getting tagged, but playing a tagging role on the weekend, which is something I wasn't aware of, but they did mention that, and I know you didn't pick up on that yourself. So that is something to potentially take into account, but I didn't see it myself, something that the boys were just mentioning there. Do you have any potentially more love that I've got for, say, Caleb Sarong?
I think Sarong is the better pick out of the two.
Agreed,
just with Brayshaw tagging, I can't even think who he would be tagging from West Coast.
It's a good point, isn't it? I may have been half asleep and maybe he was getting a bit of attention. I don't know, but I swear they said he'd switch roles and doing a bit of tagging. We'll have to follow that one up. If anyone does know, comment section, that would be brilliant for any Eric Curran owners, because I've got no idea. Huey McCluggage. Now, Wiz, this man, we saw what he did last year. I've had a lot of questions. Was he a one-year wonder? I don't think so. We'll talk about Dunkley in a sec as well. But look, McCluggage, limited preseason, just for the fact that he is a Brisbane Lions player. We've made the grand final the last 3 years, and this is something we need to take into account when we're starting Lions. They are just underdone due to circumstances, being a successful team for the last little period, and even before the grand finals, prelim, semis, all the rest. So we play late into the year. Now, once this bloke gets below 500K, and I think it's pretty much a given, looking at that break even, I think he's one of the juicier fallen premiums that we're going to see this year, because I really do expect him to start to build into the season. And I know for my personal buy structure, Brisbane's pretty friendly at this stage, and that may be a little bit team dependent here. But I'm that high on Hugh McCluggage. When he gets to his lowest price point, it's not funny. We'll obviously need to see that tog increase and see him look fit and running on the ground well. But are you in the same boat? Is he someone you would absolutely look to target, say, if he gets below 500K, as long as we start to see him getting some of the green ticks with those boxes we're looking for?
Yeah, the second he did that injury, he shot to the top of my watch list.
100% same, yeah.
He reminds me of prime Jared Lyons in the way that his scoring is perfectly in line with all the other primos, and you used to see it like you'd go in the list of players and you'd click on averages and everyone would be well owned, and then you get to Lyons and it'd be like hardly anyone owns him. McCluggage is the same, and I don't know why.
Well, he deserves respect after what he did last year, and this is the perfect fallen premium for us, I think. Obviously not now, but once he gets to that lowest price, we'll have much more of a chat then. We'll have a couple more data points on him. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic pick. And the Bont, well, in the notes section, it's pretty similar there. We've got the leaking cash and the target symbol. Huey McCluggages is more the tog, but Bont, we don't even know if he's going to get up this week. I believe the quote was from Luke Beveridge, will give him up until the death. So very much a game time decision. The bloke looks sore, hyperextended that knee. Now, you're in a little bit of a different position, I suppose, Wiz, to lots of other people, including myself. You started the man. You didn't actually use a trade to bring him in. So a little bit of a different position. But with a break even of 238, he's going to leak cash. It's a guarantee, although one of the only players that has the potential to get close to something like this in current injury status, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he can this week. But I'm a huge advocate, obviously, for holding the man. I don't think that you can. But there are some people out there that are viewing this as, look, he may miss this week, for example, lose 100K. I could use that, downgrade, put his cash on someone else's head, and then bring him back in as a fallen premium. I am not someone that would make that play. Others, if that suits you, want to go aggressive, great, go for it. Go against the grain a little bit. They're basically my thoughts on Bonds and the whole situation. What are your thoughts, mate, on Marcus Bontempelli? Obviously disappointed that he's gone down, but what are your general thoughts?
I agree. I think hold. If you get rid of him, I can see the merit in it, but you essentially using two trades because you're going to want him back anyway. Like any serious team is going to need him eventually, whether that's in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, something like that. It's probably actually best case scenario, I think, if he doesn't play this week, because if he does and he trots out like an injured 70 or 80, he's going to bleed cash. But if he has a week off and maybe he puts up like a 140 against Fremantle, like we know he can do, he's not going to lose that much.
I agree on that. It's probably more beneficial, isn't it? Because the way the poor bloke is at the moment, we know, given the fact it's a game time decision, he's going to be struggling, right? No player's ever at 100%. We know that. But yeah, I would tend to agree. And I always think back, it must be a couple of years ago now. I was actually in Canberra watching this on the TV, Bulldogs play Freo, where he went that mammoth score, and it was just fantastic. Loved him, owned the bloke, had him as a VC. So, yep, I think our thoughts are pretty similar there on the Bond, mate. Now, this expletive. Darcy Parish. I swear he waited until we traded him out. He looked like the most average 300, 350K type player, punching out 70s that we'd ever seen. All of a sudden, he looks like Gary Ablett and has a higher 3-rounder than Marcus Bontempelli. Now, I didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming, obviously, because you traded him out as well. But with a break-even of 11, is there a world where you've seen the last couple of weeks and think you could jump on him as a quick cash grab, or there's no way that you'd look to do it?
No, not after that. I'm mentally scarred now. Expletive. He was running around making Luke Ryan look like prime Dangerfield with the way he was moving. And then the last 2 weeks, we've seen what he's done. And it reminds me again of like what the Callaghan thing or the Hayden Young, how we traded him out after a few weeks and then they've just come alive. It's horrible, but I guess that's the game. I don't think he's going to get away from us though. He won't keep this up.
Surely not, man. Surely not. And the way that I describe it, right, a little bit of luck involved. I don't think there were a heap of people that were holding because they thought he was going to start smashing out 120 plus type scores. I felt like the way I think about it is Parish has almost kidnapped his owners or forced them to hold just because of the carnage that's been surrounding him. But yeah, look, if you've still got him, you're loving life at the moment. And congratulations, he's going to make some rapid cash there. Dersman, I think, is a really easy hold. Now, Tanner Bruin, I've got as a hold here. We know that he can go around the 90 mark. The only other low score he's given us apart from last week was that injury game where he got that whack to the schnoz. Now, are we a little bit concerned that his role's been slightly affected with, say, the Holmes move and submagnet shifting, or are you still pretty happy to hold him for now and then maybe reassess after this week and maybe see what his break even is looking like if he gets another, say, 50 to 60 type score? What are your thoughts on Tanner, on fingers?
I'm worried in the short term. Probably a different opinion to other people of why his CBAs have gone down. If you have a
Let's hear it.
look at last week compared to this week, so I've seen people suggesting it's Warple taking them and it's Holmes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think it's Mullen. I think the Mullen tag he had to accommodate Mullen in the middle for the tag. He was the one that missed out. And I think they're going to run Mullen on Butters. Is it Butters this week?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, lock it in.
So I think if Bruin is the one to make way again, it's going to happen this week, but then it could open up after that. So you just take the 2 shitty weeks, and I think he'll come good again. But if it's always going to be the case that he's the one that moves out with Mullen having the tag, I mean, it could go either way. You could get rid of him now, or you could just hold on to him. For that reason, I don't think he's going to make a ton of money, but he does score well when he's in there. So it's a hard one.
That's why you're top 100. You just don't listen to the crowd, the Warple, the Holmes. You look into things, Wiz. So that it's a really good point, because I think that lots of coaches will be hoping for another decent score this week. And if not, we'll see that break even start to climb, and people may panic and go, uh-oh, we need to get him out straight away. But I love the fact that you've brought up the Mullen factor, because what you could even look to do if you're a Bruin owner is look at the Geelong predicted tags. So is there a really obvious tag target in their upcoming matchups? If there is, then maybe you think to yourself there is fair potential for him to lose that midfield time. But maybe if there's no obvious tag target, we could see him spend a little bit more time in there. So are you sort of saying in a way, Wiz, that even if he does score relatively lowish this week, you would still have a little bit of faith to continue to hold because you think he can get back there because the role could return?
I did until a second ago. I just looked at Geelong's run coming up. They've got Port, obviously, so there'll be a Butters tag. Then they've got North, so could be an LDU. Then it's Collingwood. You'd think they're going to try and tag Dacos.
Yeah.
Then it's Brisbane. We know that Brisbane heavy for tag targets. And then it's Sydney, so it's probably Heaney. So it could be time to get off of that one. But who's to say it's not Warple that makes way for Mullen at any given time? Like, we don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing. I'm probably willing to wait a week to see. But if it happens this week, then I'm off the pick.
That's a great point. Because the thing is as well, he's 384K. If you don't want to trade out a Jagger, I'm putting you on a spot here, Wiz, and I apologize. You don't need to give any detailed thoughts, but if we're looking, and it's almost impossible to ask, if we put Tanner Bruin and Sam Grill as trade out options, who would you prefer? Do you have a big preference in who you trade out? Do you think maybe it could be a Bruin over someone like a Grill?
Now that I've just seen that next 5 games, probably, yeah.
You've got me thinking. You got me thinking because I pretty much, well, I don't need to. You make your own decisions. But I want to get Angry Anderson in this week, who we'll talk about very, very soon. And I've got enough cash. It's like 300K to just put on another bloke's head to get to a premium. And I don't necessarily just want 300K sitting there for the sake of it, trying to get another 30, 40K, maybe squeeze that out of a rookie. So this is a very much personal to my side, that discussion, Tanner Bruin or a Smith. Jake's one of these guys. That's really interesting, Wiz. Really, because if they're playing like James Warple, and it is easy to say, look, it could be Warple that goes out. Where else are they going to play James Warple? He's a mid, isn't he? Are they give him much time? 40. He seems like a mid to me. Maybe not with the Atkins types. There's a couple of similar ones in there.
He got 65% CBAs last game. Did he play against West Coast, or did he just come back?
I think he just came back, to be honest.
Oh, so he had 72% against West Coast. I think that was his first game back. So he's hovering around that 70%. Yeah, that's certainly not helping Bruin at all.
Interesting. Oh, I'm really going to look into that, Wiz. But I know for a fact the listeners/watchers will be very thankful for that discussion. I think it's got me thinking. It's really, really got me thinking, because he's not someone I consider trading out, because I thought to myself, oh, you just get back to the 90s, must be a low game. But roll is key in SuperCoach, as we said. So that's going to be definitely something to monitor. Isn't it funny? Like, you come in with an opinion and then you look at some stats, you think about it a little bit more deeply, and like, actually, maybe there's a bit more to this. So, like your work there, Wiz. Jagger. Happy to hold, happy to trade, either way, whatever floats your boat, or do you feel strongly one way or the other?
Oh, yeah, 50-50. Either way, I think it's fine.
Same. Yeah, same. Is that bloke? So 65, 113, 88, 70, 53, 64. So we know what he can do in the role. The big question is, does he get back to that role? When Cherry's come in, it has killed him off a little bit. So I think Cherry's a bit of a factor there. I'm pretty much with you. If you want to, you can. If you don't, you don't. But he is someone that I think definitely, as we know, we've already seen it, has a spike score in him where he could reset that cash gen for a little while. So if you need to, yes, keen hold. And a Hayden Young, I'm not trading in at this price, under 400K. I think you've just got, there has to be so much upside to a pick if you're going this awkward mid-price stage at this stage of the season. Again, a little bit in no man's land for me, but if you believe they can hit some ceiling scores, some nice 100 pluses, and you could, what are your thoughts on Hayden Young as a trade-in option this week, Wiz?
Oh, again, if you're strapped for cash, there's probably worse options. But yeah, like you said, he's kind of in no man's land, and he's so injury prone. Like, you'll be tearing your hair out, I think, within a few weeks if you pick him.
Agree. Harley Reid, would you be happy to chop someone like a Harley Reid if you own him? We've already talked about chopping a Bruin. We know that the role's there, but tags, discipline, there's a few issues with the pick at the moment. The break even is actually in red, 74, when you look at the 3-rounder of 65. Would you be happy to trade Harley, or just keep the faith? What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I don't know. He's pretty inconsistent, but they've got a decent run coming up. Hasn't Kilda, Richmond, Melbourne, Giants, Collingwood, Essendon, Port, North. So the fixture opens up for them. I mean, if you held him this far, probably not going to hurt to hold him a little bit longer.
Yeah, I suppose whatever floats your boat. Just not the type of pick for me. Now, the next three blokes here, absolute fall in premiums. Maybe Ashcroft, not the premium level that we've seen the other couple of blokes get to, and particularly Dunkley on another level historically. We've got Jai Caldwell, Josh Dunkley, and Will Ashcroft. So first with Jai Caldwell, 460,700 with a 3-rounder of 83. We know that he can do much better than an 83. And for those coaches that jumped on him last year at a bargain price, they were handsomely rewarded. Now, he's not as low as what he got to last year, but do you see a world where you could get Jai Caldwell in as your M8 and he can average enough for you to be relatively happy at the price from here on out, Wiz? Or do you think he's just too far behind the top bracket that it's just not worth it?
Yeah, I think he's too far out. I think a lot of these Essendon players are a bit inflated by the last couple of weeks. But before that, I think it was Caldwell was included, was doing nothing. So you'd probably want to see, I think he's had one good game, which was last week. You'd probably want to see a couple more. It's not like he's going to get away in price. So, I mean, if he puts 3 in a row together, then yeah. But I do think he's in that next run below the top 8, and he probably won't be quite close enough, I think, to justify it.
The other thing as well, we mentioned with a couple of players, durability concerns. That's always in the back of my mind with someone like a Jai Caldwell. Has missed a lot of football. So, yeah, not someone I'd look at. But look, if you are strapped for cash, we've seen him do premium numbers before. Now, I might skip Dunkley for a sec. Will Ashcroft, I don't think Will, at this stage, will be able to get close to the 8 to 10. We look at that fourth midfielder in line for CBAs. I just don't think he can get there at the moment in that role. If he gets up to maybe the second for CBAs, then maybe sending Copper Tag, which has obviously got that break even really, really high, but probably just not doing enough for me at this stage. And he could get extremely low and you could get an absolute bargain. But someone I am pretty interested in myself is Josh Dunkley WIZ. Now, we're quickly talking pre-podcast. We have seen nothing from Dunkley to suggest he's a SuperCoach pick in 2026. And lots of people are saying, look, we're just looking at name here with Dunkley. But a couple of points I just want to bring up with Josh Dunkley. We know as a premium of the past, and he has been for years and years and years, all the way back when we could select him as a DPP in our forward line. This guy was a best and fairest last year for a premiership side. He is a serious footballer, this guy. Defensively minded, always defense first. We know this, but he can find the football. Tackling numbers are usually off the charts historically, and the contested pill, that's a type of football that he likes. Puts his body on the line, an absolute soldier of the club, and now a co-captain. Still think it's a little bit ridiculous that we've got 3 captains, but it is what it is. We'll run with it, and we've actually needed that because Huey's been injured and Harris has been bloody suspended. So that's all good. But one thing I want to just raise with Josh Dunkley is the fact that when we're looking at role, I can't see a lot of change. I can't see anything that's too different compared to what he was doing last year, apart from the fact that tackling numbers have been a little bit down and he hasn't been finding as much of the football. My thoughts are this. He's the co-captain now. Has he been focusing a little bit more on other people's game? We know that there's been so many injuries at Brisbane, and that maybe that lack of cohesion has been obvious in the first few rounds. Has Dunkley been focusing more on that, trying to help with the cohesion, with advice, with the whole pointing that we've seen someone like Noah Anderson do? Potentially, maybe clutching at straws, I don't know. But what can't be understated is his lack of preseason. Shoulder injury, surgery in the preseason, So he was recovering, rehabbing from that. Well, like we mentioned with the other Brisbane players before, we've played the last 3 grand finals before that. We're not getting as much of a break as what other players are. And look at this bloke's style of play. He just gets banged up each and every week. And if you watch our games, I reckon 80% of the games he's played this year, he's copped at least one pretty significant knock. We're not talking KO, concussion type knocks, but fairly substantial knocks. And there is other players in the competition that would have copped the same knocks and wouldn't have come back on and played football. You could tell he was sore, but we know what Josh Dunkley's like. This bloke has played through some pretty severe injuries, so he's not going to complain, and we'll be happy to play this bloke at 60 to 70% fitness. He means that much to us, Josh Dunkley. I may have rambled a little bit there, but I suppose what I'm trying to say is, and I'm not trying to give excuses for the great man because he's a Brisbane Lion player. What I'm trying to say, though, is once he gets to a low price and, I don't know, maybe finds a little bit more, I'm not going to say fitness because he's the ultra pro. Maybe if he can rest up a little bit, maybe if he has a couple of bigger breaks in between games, ideally, I'd love to see him have a rest. But if we can see him start to get back and he's at a low price, I think he's an absolute bargain, and you've almost got to get him in your side if he gets that low. Brisbane have a really nice buy for most teams as well, like I've mentioned before. So that's what I will say on Josh Dunkley. I've absolutely hogged this slide. Anything that you want to quickly say on Josh Dunkley, mate, before we start to go a little bit more rapid through some of the next slides?
He's high on my watch list. I think he has to be with that scoring pedigree, and he normally starts out season slow and builds into it like the other Brisbane players. Last year he went 108 pre-buy and then 126 post-buy.
Bang.
So I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, when he finds form again, he'll go 126, but even if he gets up to the 108 from that price, that's close enough, you'd think, to an M8. Like, that would be fine, I reckon. I think it could turn out to be really good. It's going to be a matter of timing when we get him, and it's probably not going to be in the next couple of weeks. I think I'll probably look at him post-buy. I think
I would agree, mate. I would agree. Yep. All right. Onto the midfielders under 250k. Now, I'll go straight to the bottom. Sully Roby. When you look at the other options that you've got here, here's just a bubble pass for me. I think it'll be a solid type player. Murdoch at 1.99,900. I still think it's a buy now. This guy's an absolute freak. No idea how he hasn't been on the list previously, but a 3-rounder of 96. You look at the scores, pretty consistent. So I still think that you can go there. Angry Anderson, 113,500, I think will be the most popular bubble boy this week. There was one particular piece of play where I saw last week and just thought this guy is an absolute beast. Just you could tell he wanted the football more. Bit of a turn, bang, straight through the pack. Very impressed with this young man. I think the job security is looking okay. Funnily enough, his CBA rate was 50% in his first game, and that's when Sidebottom and DeGoey were playing in the same side. Last week, I think it was closer to the 30% mark. So those two blokes went out of the side, and the CBA rate actually went down slightly. But I like to look at this bloke. I'm not going to say chuck him on your field or anything like that, but as a bench option, a downgrade option at this stage for that price, I think is a bit of a no-brainer this week. Do you feel the same, Wiz, or do you feel like if you don't necessarily need to downgrade, if you don't want to get rid of your Jaggers, your Grills, you can actually skip on this bloke? What are your thoughts on Angry?
Nah, I totally agree with you. I think you just get him. He looks, simply put, he's just good at footy. Like, just get him. Don't overthink it.
Mate. I should have just said that rather than rambling. He's good at footy. Get him in at the price. Now, this one, we need to discuss this one a lot more. John Spiller, a.k.a. Elijah Sartis. Now, the most expensive player on this list, 223,400. It says 3-rounder. It's obviously a 2-rounder, as all bubble boys are. 92 with a negative break even of 49. A projected score of 61 will see him go up close to 50k. If he goes closer to a 90, that's getting 50 to 60k. Oof. I don't know. I can't do it at 223,000. I do see a world where he makes a quick 150k. But I suppose after going Farrow last week, it says I'm prepared to do it if I think it's worth it. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I'm just not confident enough, Wiz, at 223,000. What are your thoughts on Elijah Sartis? Are you sort of on the fence, or are you much stronger one way that I am? I'm on the fence, but I'm more off it, but I'm still on it. Are you like completely on it, or are you getting the picket straight up the coit? How are you feeling here, mate?
I'm not going to be bringing him in at this stage, but I can definitely see why people want to. I mean, you say a lot about these players as a sugar hit. I think that's what it is. He could easily go a 60 this week, and then what are you gonna make the week after? You know, you've wasted at that point you'd have wasted a trade to bring him in, and then you got to waste another one to get him out. I'd say to anyone that owned him last year, I mean, I did, just think back to that. We know that Brad Scott is unpredictable. Look at the Essendon team at the moment. It's kind of shuffling the magnets around. A lot of players in not their usual roles. We saw last year he's pretty quick to just cast Sartis aside. So that's what really puts me off. And I think it was George was saying, he kind of just hovers outside the pack. He's not like that contested beast that you'd want, maybe at that price. And I think, you know, the two good weeks of scoring, it probably coincides with Essendon having a bit of a spike. And I can't see that continuing, especially because other teams have probably taken him a bit more serious now. Who have they got coming up? Like, who are they playing this week?
All right, let's have a look. Essendon's run coming up. Have I actually got an Essendon player in my side? No. All right, I'll type him in. Sartis. T-S-A. I can't spell. All right, Elijah Sartis. So Essendon's run coming up. Oh, Anzac Day. I don't know how I forgot about that, mate. So Anzac Day, I was Collingwood this week. Then he plays the Lions, the Giants, Freo, into two nice matchups, Richmond and West Coast. Carlton, Melbourne before the bye. Yearish. It's awkward.
There'd probably be some pain there before you get to the easier ones.
There is. And look, I've just written a few names down here. Durham, Parrish, Merritt, Caldwell, and I'll even put Sharp in there. He's not playing at the moment, but hopefully they'll want to give him some minutes if he does come in. Even if I take Sharp out, there's 4 blokes there. Could still be 5th in rotation. Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's too many question marks moving forward. Some people may say they have to play him. An early pick, they have to play him. Scott has spoken kindly of him in the last couple of weeks, but it is Brad Scott. It is hard to trust. I'm pretty on the fence, as I said, a little bit off there, mate. Wouldn't begrudge anyone that wants to do it. I see a world where it works and you're happy when things are all said and done. Also see a word where you go, damn, yeah, shouldn't have done that. Should have learned from last year. So I think I may be a little bit more for him than you is, but I think, pretty similar overall there, mate. And again, thank you to all of our wonderful sponsors here. So make sure that you see Flea and Trace, Build Up Cottages up in WA there. Beautiful, beautiful part of the world. This man, the great Mr. Fernando. CJ there for all of your surveying opportunities. Now, got to give a big shout out to Cutter. The great Cutter actually today went into Grimshaw Street Red Rooster, spoke to my good mate Wayne there, had a bit of a chat about SuperCoach, got himself some chicken and did support my good mate there at Red Rooster. So, Cutter, you are an absolute legend, mate. Didn't think anything less from you. So big shout out there. And my other great mate, Shawnee, Bailey's Coffee up there, High Street at Morong. If you're close to Bendigo, will not get a better coffee than Bailey's. All right, onto the rucks, mate. Now, Samson Ryan, I don't see where will we go here. Negative break even of 32, but we're pretty full in our ruck lines. We've got Loops that actually played, that killed some coaches this week with ZZ Top, but I don't see a world where goes Samson Ryan. I don't even know if Emmett's going to be playing this week. Edwards, you don't trade into, but you're happy if you've got him sitting there. He's make a little bit of money for you. ZZ, WIZ, extremely unlucky for coaches last week, particularly those that were busy and didn't get to the news on the Sunday. Bailey Williams, look, after the first week, some people had him on their watch list, but I don't think that we look there at 282,000. Very risky there with Bailey Williams. Oscar Steen, I was really impressed with 2 quarters in particular on the weekend. So he came out with a nice contested mark early and then to end the game. Now, Wiz, this is one thing that you may not have seen if you weren't paying really close attention. His connection with Nick Dacos in the CBA was phenomenal. Now, I remember at least 3 from memory, clear hit-outs to advantage to Nick on the run. That was brilliant. So I've actually been asked the question this week, is it too late to bring him in? I say yes. I say the ship sailed on bringing him in as a trading option because I would not be surprised in any sense to see him punch out a 40 this week. You know, the week before, I think he had a good first quarter, was on about 27, got scaled back 7 points and finished on about a 28 the week before. So he's the type of player in the role that can give you an absolute dud. So I don't think he's a trade in option, but we are pretty happy just to hold him. And CDT, it's tough because the buggers made no money at all. So it'd almost be in the camp of just hold on to him maybe and hope you can get a spike game like you did early on. Is there anyone that you want to touch on there, Wiz? Or any differences of opinion with any bloke on this slide?
Nah, it's all pretty straightforward, I think. I think well done to people as well that got on Mitch Edwards at the start. He's done better than I expected.
Underrated that, wasn't it? When you compare him to the Whites that have done nothing and some of the other picks that you had there, then yeah, absolutely, mate. All right, let's talk about the big boys. Now, Wiz, I don't know this myself, but do you know, A, if TDK will be playing this week, and B, if he isn't, what the timeline is?
I saw he was listed as a test, so that's not good.
No, so we can't go Rowan Marshall if he's listed as a test, can we? This is absolute no.
Oh, you could if you had maybe like 36, 38 trades, you could burn one because he probably will go massive this week. But yeah, it's not really worth doing it for a week.
Scored well last week, but if you take a look at this bloke's scoring before that, we are talking bad. Bottom of the barrel. Like, I think he's gone close to losing the most cash out of any player. He'd be pretty close to that mark anyway, currently sitting at just a tick above 400,000, but does have DPP. Handy as a forward option there. Pretty much in direct competition if you're looking at a player like that with Sam Draper, who I'm not even sure made the stocky this week. Dogger Jackson. The word I've got here is consistency. WIZ. The last 3 weeks, 125, 126, 125. Really safe type option. If someone's looking for a ruck, would you advocate a Luke Jackson, or do you have to, in your mind, go with the Gawn, the Grundy, the big ceiling type blokes? Or are you happy enough just locking in Dogger for a pretty safe score most weeks?
I think for that price, if you're going to get 120, 125 out of him every week, he's not that far off of the big ones on average anyway. So, yeah, I mean, most people are missing Cherry now, unless they held him. But he's 72k more. And how much more points are you going to get out of him than you get out of Jackson anyway?
Good point. Good point. And there's no headaches with this pick. And I can say this as an owner. It's just the consistency, just the ton run. It's been great. Just, maybe a lack of ceiling is the knock that some people might put on a Dogger type, but I'm more than happy for him just to keep doing what he's doing. No complaints at all. Mm-hmm. Tristan Sherry, I don't think there'll be too many people that will be looking to trade him in straight off that suspension. Some may have seen enough, but after that last game, I don't think you can go there at the moment. Look at that break even, 141. He'll come down in price, and I think you can probably target him then. Brody Grundy, again, I don't think it's 700k you're looking to spend up this much at the moment. But this week, this matchup with, he could be the best VC of all time. He's playing an Englishless Dogs, and they've brought in some new ruck, I think, for the week. I don't know anything about him, but this could be an absolute murder this week, mate. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I've got the VC firmly on him.
You've got him too. You've got Gawn as well.
Yeah, I think both of them will go huge.
You sicko.
We're going to party like it's 2018. But Grundy's projected to lose 14k here. I think he'll make money.
Take these projections with a grain of salt. WIZ, would it be a big call to say that this could be the biggest combo SuperCoach scoring week of the Gaundy combo that we have seen in the history of SuperCoach? Could it be this week?
It should be. Like on paper, yeah, it should be. They should both go probably close to the double ton, I think.
You lucky bastard. How good is that going to... Well, I don't want to jinx anything, right? I'm going to shut up now. But with everything that we expect to see, the Gaundy combo this week is just ridiculous. And if you don't know what we're talking about with Max Gawn, he's obviously playing Richmond this week with Nank out. It could be a bloodbath. It could be. Look, he has been a little bit off Gawn lately. You're not concerned in any way here, are you, WIZ, with Max Gawn?
Nah, not enough that I'd be trading him out or anything, but I have noticed that teams are getting a lot more conscious of not kicking down the line to him. Like you see them setting up. Yeah, and I mean, there's one way of looking at it. Like, yeah, he didn't get any marks, but he still went a ton without any marks, which is pretty crazy for a ruck. Yeah. But then, yeah, it is concerning that teams are putting so much effort into like going around him. They don't want to kick to him at any cost, really.
That is a good point. Good point. Look, as owners, there's no way that you make some sort of a play and trade him out and back him, whatever. Just hold him and, yeah, be happy that you got him, I think. And Tim English, again, has been ruled out this week. Potentially back next week. Nothing confirmed, but I think it was a bit of a test. That was what the talk was, but officially ruled out. Maybe back next week if you're a holder or an owner. Not too sure there, but a discussion we don't really need to have at the moment. Now, the forward's 500k plus. Harry Sheasel needs no discussion. He's an absolute must-have. I've got Petrarca as well as a must-have. I'm not saying necessarily this week, but would you agree on that both Sheasel and Petrarca are must-haves, or maybe not necessarily Petrarca? What are your quick thoughts there, mate?
Yeah, they're definitely must-haves. They'll both be top 3, top 4.
Beautiful. Zach Bailey, really disappointing last week. I know Janath brought him in. A few other really good coaches that I rate brought him in as well. I've always been a little bit worried about consistency with this pick, but before last week has been really consistent. Consistently, I'm using that word again, hitting the scoreboards. Doesn't necessarily need a huge amount of CBA minutes to score well. I still think he's a good pick and he's got a nice buy, but I would not have him in the top bracket. I'm saying, well, if I put Sheasel and Petrarca tier 1, I'll then have your Cozzies probably tier 2. I'd have Bailey under a Cozzy in a tier 3. Would you agree with that, Wiz, in regards to some general ratings?
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to argue with what they've done over the first 7 weeks.
One, you can get in if he floats your boat, but with that low score, I think you just wait a couple of weeks and get on him for a cheaper price if you can. And Cozzy, I got to watch him live the other week, and this bloke's electric. Like, as a Melbourne supporter, you'd love watching this bloke play for your side for hopefully the next decade or however long the contract is. But they do get up and about. And one thing that I did notice, particularly early on, was the way he was using the bowl. Jeez, Wiz, I tell you, mate, sometimes using the ball, lovely goal assists. And it seems like the vision that he's got, other players don't have. So I think he's a smart type footballer. There'll definitely be times where he'll get tagged. He's the number 1 tag target for me at Melbourne anyway. But overall, I think he's going to be a fantastic pick moving forward and probably tier 2 for me, Cozzy Pickett. Would you be happy to bring him in this week, particularly against Richmond? If you're looking for a forward, would you pay $5.40 for Cozzy?
Yeah, he's the one I'm looking at, I think, for sure.
Yep, agree. Lots to like about the Cozzy pick. Now, Tuke Miller finds himself at 513,000 with a break even of 132 as a forward type selection. Now, Cozzy, and I've got the note section wrong there. Cozzy was meant to be like a tier 2 in the note section. Tuke Miller, I've got the 8 ball for a potential top 8. Do you see, well, if I were to give you those basic ratings, say a 1, 2, or a 3, where would you have a Tuke Miller? Would you have him alongside a Pickett or maybe a little bit under him? Where would you rate a Tuke Miller?
No, I'd have him with Pickett. I think Pickett's got the lower floor. He's probably got the higher ceiling as well. But yeah, we got so many years of trusted data from Tuke. It's hard to go past. I think he'll be right there with him.
Yeah. The other thing with Miller as well, and Petrarca along with Sheasel, they do have that really tricky round 12 bye. They also share with Port Adelaide, and we'll talk about Horn Francis in a little while as well. Miller, I like it. Next week, if you're looking for a forward, no, I'm not looking at matchups here. I'm purely looking at break even and price. If he goes a flat ton, then he's at 500K on the dot. And I think that's a nice price for Tuke Miller. So nice work there, mate. Now, we do have a few names here on the list. There's some we can sort of skip through fairly quickly. Phoenix Gothard, he's a real pod-type rookie. If you got onto him, he'll be looking to go up another 40K if he can go a 75 this week. So congrats to those people. Zerha, we've already talked about this guy. I think I forget if it was actually off air or if it was in the intro part. No go for you. Cam Zerha, the Clarko factor, the magnets. This is what's putting you off. Hang on, did we talk about him in the back? No, we couldn't have because he's a forward. Thoughts quick. Cam Zerha, mate. What do you reckon?
Simply, Clarko can giveth, Clarko can taketh.
It's as simple as that for Wiz. I absolutely agree with that. I think it's a sugar hit type play if you want to go there. It is so risky, though, at the same time. Would anyone be surprised if after next week Zerha went back forward, McKerch went down back? Not me. Scobes did retweet, I think, from the North Merchant, who's a good track watcher on X, that he has been training with the defenders again this week. So if that's anything to go by, maybe your choice. I'm not going there myself. Wiz isn't going there, but I know some other good coaches that are. So, yeah, you can make up your own mind about Cam Zerha. Braden Cook, yeah, wonderful game from him last week, Wiz. Mr. Cook.
Oh, he's super impressive. At the end of last year, I was an advocate for him being delisted because he just wasn't doing anything up forward, but it seems that he was just played out of position. He's really excelled in that new role. Yeah, as a Crom supporter, you love to see it for sure. And he's been killer in SuperCoach. I'm happy to just hold him a bit longer. He could probably even get close to 400k, I reckon.
That'd be beautiful, wouldn't it? And that check side goal just, made some good decisions, used it well. Yep, fantastic from him. Sammy Flanders, really good to see him score 115 plus, I think about 117 from memory. Now, did spend a little bit of extra time behind the ball, which was handy for his scoring, but Wiz, I think we've all got him. You'll just keep him at the moment. Murphy Reed, I wouldn't be trading into him, but if you own, you hold as that pod selection. Horn Francis, this is more of a discussion. Now, he didn't score overly well with some of the easier matchups, but the last couple of weeks, he's scored okay against your Hawthorns, with a nice 105 odd. At 481,000, mid forward DPP, break even of 81. He does share it with many other popular forward options. Is he on your radar, the Horny Man?
No, he's not.
I love hearing that. Because he's not on mine, but I know some people are. And what is it, Wiz? What is it with my confidence levels on him? I'm trying to work out exactly what it is. Was it I did get burnt by him last year, trade him in, trade him out, starting. I forget what the whole situation was. I don't know if it's that. What are the major red flags here for you anyway?
He's really injury prone. He's also likely to give away a lot of frees. And just uncertainty in the role as well. He gets put deep forward. He gets put in the midfield. He'll get played as a high half forward. It's kind of just all over the place depending on what they need at the time. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a really good player, but there's, in terms of SuperCoach, I feel like there's too much just kind of going against him. And I kind of put him in that tier 3 you mentioned, like with Bailey.
Yep.
I think there's too many ahead of him.
I would tend to agree. Yeah, I would tend to agree. I'd love to be on the fence with it, but I'm probably just off it, I think, with the Horny Man. Now, Joshua Shelley, you're a Crom man. Tier 3? Is he a tier 3 in your eyes? Someone like a Joshua Shelley?
Yeah, he is. He's really good. He's just a little bit inconsistent, I think, still. And I'm still a firm believer that as Rankin kind of builds into the season and gets more CBAs, it's for Shelley he's going to be the one to miss out, because Crom do seem to like having one forward, one in the midfield at all times. They're like the rotation for each other. So probably going to hurt both of them in the end.
Have you seen enough from Rankin to purchase him at 430k?
He's had probably one good week, so not yet. But if he has another good one this week, especially against your mob, then I'll be convinced, I think, and I'll look at getting him.
I tell you what, at that price, if he wasn't suspended, I would have probably looked to start him this season to start the year, because I really like Isaac Rankin. But I'm probably with you, Wiz. We see another good week at the price. We definitely need to have a look, because we do need to be hunting value as well as spending up for some of the big premiums. Now, I did skip Jack Whitlock. There was a request. I forget who the legend was that wanted Jack Whitlock here. But looking here with a 3-rounder of 60, break even of 81. Oh, I think you can chop or hold. I don't have any great thoughts either way, on Jack Whitlock. Wiz, do you know anything about the pick? Any feelings on him or what you do with him at that price?
Oh, I'd 100% be chopping him. He's a key forward, and they've got a hard run coming up. So we know that Port started, first 5 weeks at least were fairly easy, but their next 4 is they've got Geelong, then they've got the Showdown, Bulldogs, and then Gold Coast. So I think he's topped out. I'd be ditching him now for sure.
Great advice, mate. There you go, mate. Get rid of Jack. See you later, Jack. Chad Warner. I've just got the average Joe symbol there for Chad. I just all right, let's go to tiers. Tier 3.
Yeah. He's a tough watch.
He is, and he's a frustrating watch, isn't he? Looks like absolute gold sometimes. He's bursting out of the stoppage, kicks a long bomb from 60. You go, wow, this is why he's so highly rated. But other times you think, just average Joe. That's why I've got the average Joe symbol there. And I've been a Chad Warner owner before, and it's just a bit of a frustrating watch, a bit of a frustrating own, to be honest. And we'll finish off this slide with Riley Thilthorpe, the thrill seeker, the caveman, some people say. I love this bloke, and I know you're a huge fan of him as a player. As a pick, is there any merit in looking to go Thilthorpe at the moment, or one we just sort of let go through to the keeper?
No, let him go for now. He's almost certainly playing injured from what I can see. He's got a back complaint, and I think if it wasn't for the fact that Fogarty was missing the next 3 weeks with his back problem, Thilthorpe would probably be rested. You can see it's hindering his movement. But I think he's doing well to do what he's doing even with that. But yeah, he's going to drop in price. You'll probably be able to get him at about 400k at some point, and then that's probably your time to jump on, because he surprised people last year. He was top 6 for total points in the end.
Absolutely. And a fit Riley Thilthorpe is obviously very different to the version we're currently seeing at the moment if he's carrying that injury. Love your work, mate. All right, we're now going to finish up. Shit, this is going to be 2 hours. This is going to be 2 hours. Wiz, I apologize for taking up so much of your time, but I'm pretty sure I'll speak on behalf of everyone here. Very, very thankful for it, mate. But we're on the last slide. Forwards under 250k. And up the top, Malcolm Rosas. Yeah, congrats if you got him. He's an easy hold with a break-even of -12, 3-rounder of 67. Hopefully get close to 300k for those that own him. Thomas Edwards, pretty unlucky, the young man. I think there was about 5 minutes left to go in the game, and the ARC pulled him off for an HIA, which I believe that he passed and available for selection this week. But I've got a pass. You would have had to go there last week if you're interested there. Hannaford, again, very disappointing score, even though see a negative break-even of 4. Easy pass for me. Todd Marshall, again, he's an easy hold. I think lots of us have got him at the moment. Hasn't made near enough cash. A little bit of concern with Lukosius going out that his role may change, but we did see him in that defensive role and lots of early intercept marks. I know a couple of messages came through to me earlier that potentially thought he was being underscored. Not sure your thoughts are, Wiz. I'll quickly go through them and then get your take, mate. Leo Lombard, just a slow burn hold for me at this stage. Doveston, again, a slow burn. Probably holding because he hasn't made anything, but frustrating if you've got both of them on your bench, for example. Maybe you might need to move one on soonish. Fawcett, no way that you look to go there. 134,000 is cheap, but not worth it. And then Mateus Philippou, I've got as a hold, chop, DPP, whatever floats your boat, but playing West Coast this week, my view is to give him at least this week to see how he goes against West Coast. And if he can't do anything against them, then that's the final data point that I need to say goodbye. My confidence levels aren't too high. But again, he's given us a 66, 69, 69, but then counter that with a 40, a 42, and then obviously that 27. So a little bit of a mixed bag. West Coast, Carlton, and Gold Coast are his next 3. Your quick thoughts on any of these players, mate, that you'd like to give us?
Just with the Todd Marshall one, I didn't see the game, but I think he started out really hot and then he barely did anything in the last quarter when the game was on the line. And you can see in the second half, he only scored 19 points.
Well, you must be absolutely right. So it must have been a big sort of first half then, mate. Yeah.
Also, Fawcett, I looked at trading in him or Edwards, and I went Edwards, and I'm really glad because what if Fawcett get like a -2 or something?
Oh, shocking, mate.
Something
no
bad.
Good. Yeah, no good whatsoever. His average was pretty close to your Edwards looking at last week, but you see already the difference. Not good, mate. Very unlucky, or well, unlucky, whatever you made the decision, whoever got him in, but yeah, not looking good, is he?
This is the last one now. Philippou, I've got a different opinion on him.
Oh, let's hear it. Go, devil's advocate, love it.
So I was with you. I was thinking, okay, he's playing West Coast. I'll probably hold him and give him one last chance. Let's say he goes 100 against West Coast. What's he going to make? About what's his break even? 37. So let's
37.
He's probably going to make you like 25k if he goes 100. But the following week he's probably going to go back to somewhere between 40 and 60. Is it really worth holding him to make an extra like 40k max when you could get down to Angry Anderson with him and hold all the others that we're probably less sure of, or he could be your upgrade in the forward line? Is it really worth missing out on for what I say, for 30, 40 grand maybe? Like, we don't even know.
Yeah, it's all guesswork at this stage, isn't it? Sort of educated guesswork. You're right. It's a really good point that you make. Maybe I'm looking a little bit too short term, as in 1 week short term with this pick. Overall, he hasn't been overly impressive. It's a very good point that you raise, Wiz. Very good point that you raise. So maybe more on the side of looking to chop rather than hold. It's a tough decision with so many players this week, isn't it? With your Philippus down the back with your Jakes, your Sarongs, your Jaggers. We even talked about Tanner Bruin, who that was a great discussion point, and that's something I'm really going to look into and think deeply about this week, Wiz, because for me, this has clearly been the hardest week of trading because I finally get to make my own decision. I'm not forced into having to trade someone out. It's like I'm now looking to upgrade, and these fellas are actually healthy and probably should just keep them, but want to try to get the upgrade cadence going. Mate, that was brilliant. And again, we've got my mate Wayno here, Grimshaw Street Red Rooster. Tell him DR sent you, and he'll give you the best chicken you have ever tasted in your life. Mate, we are about an hour and 55 minutes. We needed a long one this week because finally, for lots of coaches, we are able to make our own decisions. As we said, we did cover all the blokes on this slide here. The Bont, Brayshaw, Cam Zohar, Spillsy, aka Elijah Sardis, and Angry Angus Anderson. Mate, cannot thank you enough for coming on again. There is no better bloke to get on. A current top 100 coach. I think we're going to be sitting here at the end of the season saying top 100 coach, if not top 1 coach. Cannot wish you anything but the best for the rest of the season, Wiz. Have you got any parting thoughts, any words of wisdom? Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing on your channel, your round reviews, mate. The floor is yours, mate, for however long you want to finish this off.
Oh, I've been doing a hell of a lot on the channel, just like the weekly review, obviously, and then if I get the time, the trades. But I've been my life's been pretty hectic the last few weeks, and haven't had time. I've had people in the comments saying to me, "Can I please do the trade video before the rounds start and stuff?" And I'm sure you're used to comments like that, and 100% like they mean well and stuff. But yeah, people, I think you got to realize you got a life outside of doing this. As much as we love the game, it definitely comes second or even fourth or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying the season. And once again, I think I said this last time. I can't stress it enough. Just go with your gut. Like, if it goes wrong, it's fine. It's a lot easier to swallow that pill than if you don't and you get swayed by someone else. And I mean, mine's a big gut to follow. So
A contested pill gut, we call it, mate. Contested pill. You can throw a bit
Luke
this
Ryan.
way, mate. I'll tell you what. Yeah, been trying to fat myself up for years. Can't quite do it, mate. It must be the metabolism, I think. But mate, look, great advice. Look, you've been following your gut. It's been going well. Nothing worse than listening to groupthink. Almost feeling like you get sucked into a pick and it doesn't work out. At least, and that's like that's why I feel comfortable going with Clary this week in a way, because no one else I've heard talk about him as a trade-in option. And this is a bit of gut feel for me. So if Clary doesn't go right, at least I can say to myself, cool, I made the wrong choice. It was my bad. I haven't got sucked in to any sort of data or group think. This is my decision, and I'm feeling pretty good with it. So, mate, again, can't thank you enough for coming on. Guys, please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this great man. He's almost at 900. We need to get him through to 1,000. You start to make a little bit of pocket money once you get to 1,000 with the watch hours. So please support Wiz. It is the best way to support him is by subscribing to his channel. Give him a like on the channel. If you want to give a like to this video, thank you very much. Actually, yeah, do, because we want Wiz's face, beautiful head getting out there. We want more people seeing Wiz and hearing him his great knowledge, the way that he goes about the game, you can see that it's worked wonders for him this year. So please make sure that you do support the great man. Available on Twitter or X as well, if you want to go there. Always happy to have a chat. But again, he's a busy man. He's a busy man. And I can relate to what you're saying, mate. I know people mean well, and it's great that people want your videos. It's like, sweet, yeah, a little bit of a head wobble. Like we're doing some good things here, but it can be tough, particularly these early turnarounds. Like the Thursday night games have killed me in the last few years doing content. When we had that extra day up our sleeve with the Friday, you could do a little bit more, but yeah, it is a little bit tough these days. But I will stop there because we are almost right on the 2-hour mark. So great job, WIZ. Thank you very, very much for coming on again, mate. And good luck for the rest of the season, buddy.
Nah, thank you. Always an absolute honor. They don't call you the GOAT for no reason. So always happy to do it.
Mate, you are kind. Maybe because I'm skinny and hairy like a billy goat. Maybe that's the reason why they call me the GOAT, mate. So thanks again, mate. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. It's a tough week this week. There's many ways that you could go. You could zig when others are zagging. But ultimately, all we can do is give our personal opinions. We're not saying it's right. We haven't got any sort of a magic crystal ball. But hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully you've got a little bit of help, whether or not you're listening to us or just checking out the break-evens and projections there. We appreciate you coming on. Subscribe to WIZ, give it a like, all the rest, and we'll see you again in the next one. Cheers, guys. Catch you soon.